Have you ever considered being the one to create the kind of prosperity that would outlive you and serve the generation after you? Well, I want to welcome you to this virtual conversation because that is one thing we share in common. I come from a country that 60, 70 years ago had the value of our currency was stronger than the US dollars. I am from Nigeria, and in less than one generation, the value of our currency has reduced to the extent that the cost of living is so high, the inflation is unbearable, is devastating. And one of the things that we complain about, people my age, maybe 10 years, 5 years ago, was, so what happened to the people that were in charge of the economy? What led to this? Was it poor stewardship? Were they not thinking about the future? Were they not planning for their children? Sometimes we blame them. But when you are in your 30s like me right now, you realize that, okay, it's no more time to blame, it's time to work. You are now in position to create prosperity, not just for yourself and your children, but for generations after you. Is there anything that we enjoy right now that we can look back and say, oh, thank God for the people that invented it? Electricity, and so on and so forth. So I want to discuss what the source of prosperity is, because I'm discovering things on my own, and it's like keeping it to myself would be unrighteous. It's mind-blowing. And so I would say that the truth about prosperity is not just knowledge. Truth is experienced. Knowledge is inferior to wisdom, and wisdom is inferior to truth, but that's a path that leads to it. Knowledge is another person's truth that is documented for you. Now, if you're able to understand it and apply it, that means you're wise, okay? And then the result you get becomes truth. You don't say the truth, you bear witness to the truth because you experienced it. No wonder in the court of law, eyewitnesses are like hard evidence. Last year was supposed to be one of the most challenging years of my life, but I tapped into something. I discovered something about prosperity, and it materialized. I made more than I have made in the past, say, 5 years last year. What I mean is, my annual earnings for last year was more than what I made in the previous 5 years. Even when, like, I don't know how to talk about it, but let me just give you an instance. I had 9 clients, 7 of which were recurrent clients. What led to getting these clients had nothing to do with me talking about businesses to them. I did not tell them about my business. I wasn't selling anything. I was just having conversations. So, when you're genuinely interested in the good of other people, when you are interested in helping people, and it comes out in your conversations with them, they will tell you, oh, can you help me do this? And then they'll offer to pay you. And what if it is something that you're already prepared to, deliver without thinking that was a business arena, but you're just having conversations. So when they offered to pay you, you were now able to provide and even exceed their expectation. That was my experience last year, and it was a turning point for me. But I did not just wake up and suddenly become cheerful enough in the midst of the hardships of last year to be the kind of person that would offer help. Something switched. There is something that happened which I think is the starting point or the source of prosperity that I want to share with us today. So now, before I talk about myself, because this is not about me really, This is not about me. I just want to share some things, like give some background. When I throw words around like prosperity, truth, witness, I need to explain and describe it to you the way I understand it, because I believe that when we are having virtual conversations like this, it's not about what I'm saying, it's about what you are receiving, because we are having, an interaction. It's beyond what we are saying. There is a mental connection that is happening here that is sparking some ideas in your mind, or it's reminding you of some things that you want to do. And my intention is not just to, talk or, have a conversation. There is an aim. I want you to discover the source of prosperity and start to cultivate it. All right. If I make the statement that the source of prosperity is truth, what does it mean? So let's define truth. Truth is not just mere words, but it can be expressed through laws. So, if I use the law of increase, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. This is from Genesis chapter 2 in the Bible. But this law applies to every other thing, and it is recorded in many other religious texts and even research papers. If I say that this is the truth, since I quoted the Bible, there is another provision in the Bible to explain what is truth, which is in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, truth is established. What does that mean? It means if somebody says, when you are in labor and you do this particular breathing technique, you are going to feel relief. Right? The contraction, the pain from the contractions will be minimized, will be tolerable. And you hear it and you practice it, which is wisdom. And I'm speaking from experience now. When I was in labor, I applied it and I saw that it helped. My result is truth. Now, if another person get the same results and we have like 2, 3, 4, 5 thousands of witnesses, that truth is established. And so the law of increase, which is seed time and harvest shall not cease as long as the earth remains. I want to give 3 witnesses. The first witness is going to be agriculture, the second witness is going to be human reproduction, and the third witness is going to be business, which is where I'm hoping that we'll get to. Let's start from agriculture. When you hear seed and harvest, I think agriculture is the first thing that comes to mind. And what's so fascinating is the seed changes form, grows into a tree with a fruit that has the seed in multiplied form that can give birth to, that can multiply into a forest, and the cycle continues. So this principle of increase is prosperous. This prosperity is that small and it continues to increase and increase and increase. Now, in between the seed and the harvest, there are some things to look out for. As the person that is planting, there are some things you have control. There are some things you can control to help to either enhance or hinder the growth of that plant, which is the right environment, watering, weeding. But then there are some things you can't observe, such as how the seed is able to defy gravity and push through the earth, right? But when you do those things that you can control at the infant stage, it sets it up for prosperity, for success. And that pattern can be replicated. Believe that anything that has a capacity to increase has a physical and a spiritual aspect. So for that transformation to take place, it's to switch from one form to the other. It will first of all switch. In the case of a seed, it switches from the physical dies to the physical and then they comes alive to the spiritual, and then the spiritual will in turn give birth to the physical. We are going to come to that because there's something about spiritual physical that pours into material wealth. Guess what? The remaining part of this video is not available. I lost it. It's a long story, trust me. And I was so discouraged. I wanted to start this video afresh, and I've not had the time to record the video afresh. And I said, you know what? I have to put out this video no matter how short, because I believe that someone deserves to hear this. I know that I had a strong desire to engage in this conversation and someone needed to hear it. So I said, go ahead and post this video and then record the remaining part. So tonight when my baby goes to sleep, because that's when I have the time, I'm going to record the remaining part, or as soon as I can. So I just came back from church and I said, you know what? Let me release the remaining part of the video that I was able to save and then give you this explanation. I'm so grateful that you are here. This year, I want to engage in conversations that create prosperity, and I'm here because of you. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I'm going to see you in the next video.